Tesla is once again experimenting with more ways to cut costs, and while this is a pretty niche news story, I think it's a sign of what's to come in the next few quarters. As Tesla said, they're going to start offering cheaper models, but hasn't really gone into much detail to how they're making them cheaper. But specifically just for the market of Mexico, I'm not sure how many Teslas are sold there each year, they're making a lot of interior changes for the base model, the rear-wheel drive variant, that Sawyer Merritt just brought to a lot of people's attention. For one, no more heated or ventilated seats, no more heated steering wheel. There is still ambient lighting on the Model 3, but it's not RGB anymore. It's just a singular white color. And they've removed the rear-mounted display for the backseat passengers. So obviously a little bit weird, but I guess it probably makes sense, at least in very warm climates, to not spend all of this additional money and resources on wiring in a heated steering wheel and heated seats when they know that part of the world is probably very rarely utilizing them, and they probably know that sales could be a lot better if they simply just got prices down further. But in my opinion, it's unlike Tesla for them to come up with some kind of new cheaper seat material. It's using this new like mesh fabric instead of the vegan leather that they've used pretty much since the beginning. Why would they switch to just this seat design and just this ambient lighting change specifically for one region? I have a feeling this is just the first wave of potentially cheaper Model 3s coming that are just leaving out a few more premium features. They're doing it at low volume at the start just to iron out the kinks and get the supply chains ready and everything, and maybe this is just the first batch and they're going to run a test run. But because EVs have simply not had as much demand as I think Tesla was initially hoping, and they realized that, okay, we're probably going to have to cut prices even more. That's why Tesla is now offering options they haven't had in years, like the long-range rear-wheel drive variant, which is awesome, super efficient, super long range, which is really fun and exciting. But again, they tried to not offer that option for a long time because they wanted people to pay the premium for the dual motor all-wheel drive variants. Now we're seeing them pull all kinds of different demand levers. I'm sure we'll see more near the end of this year. But of course, I'm very curious to see how much they will actually knock off on the price by simplifying the interior this much. And I don't mean to toot my own horn too much, but this is literally what I said would happen not too long ago. And a bunch of y'all were already claiming, oh, Drew, Tesla has already ripped out everything expensive in the Model 3. They're not going to be able to go any cheaper. It's already bare bones, right? They got rid of the gear stocks. They've integrated the fog lamps, like the new headlights and everything are cheaper and simpler than ever before. So my personal prediction is, now that I ended up being somewhat correct about taking out the ventilated seats or taking out some of the more premium interior features, is that next year, these more affordable models that they're alluding to are simply nickel manganese cobalt packs that are either software limited or physically smaller. So they're going to be crazy lightweight. It's going to be kind of like the 2019 standard range Model 3s. It's not LFP, which is honestly probably bad for the longevity of the vehicle, but my guess is Tesla's willing to take that hit if it pushes more sales in the short term. That way, it still qualifies for the $7,500 federal tax credit, which who knows if that will stay around during the next presidency, but in the short term at least, it should be around because presidents shouldn't be able to remove it like in the first day of office. So at least in the short term, I think Tesla in the United States is going to offer these same Model 3s with the, I don't know what they'll call them, standard interior instead of partial premium or premium. They're just going to call it the standard interior, which doesn't have ventilation, doesn't have heated seats or heated steering wheel, just has one color for the ambient light strip or maybe no ambient lighting at all, and no rear mounted display with a nickel manganese cobalt smaller battery pack, maybe around 55-60 kilowatt hours. That way it qualifies for the $7,500 federal tax credit, and then you'll have a Model 3 at point of sale that technically costs the end user like $28,000. So sure, there's lots of other legacy automakers out there that will sell you cheap cars that have heated seats, heated steering wheels, and all that kind of stuff, but Tesla's looking at ways they can cut costs, and they can't really compromise too much on the battery pack, but maybe they'll be able to compromise on interior features, and just hope people out there that don't care too much about having heated seats or ventilation would be willing to pay $28,000 for a Tesla that still has NACS, that still has supercharger access, that still has some decent autonomous driving features, and will still probably have decent ride quality and a decent amount of range. It's definitely not going to be the fanciest car in the world, but it will be an all-electric one that is likely more affordable than anything else on the market and really take advantage of this federal tax credit. That's my personal prediction, mixed in with the news that, hey, by the way, if you're watching in Mexico and you buy the base Model 3 that's really cheap, then you're going to have kind of a basic bare bones interior. But I'm actually kind of excited to check that out because I was never really against the mesh fabric materials in vehicles. I've always found those seats more comfortable, and sure, they may be harder to clean, but usually in the summertime, those seats don't get as hot. So some people might actually end up preferring it. What do you guys think Tesla's planning? Is this really just a one-off for the Mexican market, or do you think Tesla's going to start doing cheaper interiors, start stripping more and more things out in other markets as well to hit ultra-low pricing that we've never seen Tesla hit before? As disappointing as the interior changes may be for some of you, personally, I get very excited at the idea that there could be new Model 3s that start under $30,000 after the point of sale tax credit. Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.